3.24 has a lot going on outside of hangars, and we're going to talk about it, especially the freight elevators that are at the outposts that are all over the moons of Stanton. Now, this specific moon is out in the new Babbage planetary system, and it is one of the research outposts. So, what is interesting to me is that this is one of what I would call the larger outposts to do business with, and it has a freight elevator, just like the stations do. Now, one thing to note here is currently there's an issue where other players can throw things in, regardless if they own them or not, hit the elevator control, which anyone can hit, and then the items are kept by them inside that space. I brought some experimental gifts for the freight elevator, and this is kind of just testing this localized inventory. So moving them from my Nursa that I use on my Phoenix a lot nowadays for its medical needs and also just for its convenience. And plain and simple, I'm operating the freight elevator, warehouse elevator to the freight area, if you want to call it that. I'm still getting used to calling it all that. And there it goes, just like in the area. Now, I do want to note that one of the two stuffed animal Picos fell, and they did not make it into the system. I think because they're lighter weight. So if you have something critically expensive or some mission in the future has a requirement to put stuff into the freight elevator, warehouse elevator to freight, be sure to secure these items. So you could stack things up on top of the lighter items and get creative, and otherwise it's pretty smooth. It seems like they're not really calibrated for super lightweight items that are bouncy, and that's about it. Now, what I did seem to notice here was it felt like there was a armistice where you could not shoot. You could pull out a tractor beam, you could pull out a med gun, but I didn't seem to be able to pull out my pistol, even with the circle. I don't know if I kept it in the video, but I actually started trying to open it up in the circle ring menu as well, and it didn't do anything. Anyway, RSI Nursa is wonderful. The Phoenix is wonderful. One of the few things that is missing is medical, and that's how it is. Now, with a lot of the 3.24 winners and losers, I would say any ship that can hold a medical RSI Ursa Medevac. I feel obligated to say it correctly at least once in the video, just in case somebody doesn't know that already. But I think they're very useful. So forgive the little beeping noise. It's going to go away in a moment as we switch clips. But that's an example of a test bed of how would I move freight in and out of a warehouse elevator that is at a freight service that's at an outpost. So when you look at them on the map, you'll see like a little up and down symbol and that they have the freight service. And that means that they have that new warehouse elevator with local inventory. Now, I wanted to show this because I had a question from the community asking about, can you run the warehouse elevator at the same time as you're queuing a ship or a ground vehicle inside your hangar? First of all, they fixed ground vehicles at New Babbage, which is a nice touch. But previously, you had to be at Orison, which was very ironic because ground vehicles are practically worthless on Orison until you leave Orison to go somewhere else. But anyway, the ASOP can be queued up for a ground vehicle or a ship. Absolutely. And you can still be working the warehouse elevator. Now, one of the things I haven't tried yet is running both warehouse elevators at the same time. So the next time, we have that capability of we're doing some multi-crew fun, it will be something where we're running, queuing up an ASOP, running a warehouse elevator, and then we have somebody else on the other end queuing up another warehouse elevator. See if all three systems can run at the same time. But I do want to commend that's well thought out, because it would be a shame if it like glitched out or it was on stall, especially because there is no hand wavium. Uh, the way they handle the elevator that delivers ships and vehicles with the ASOP system, where it has to go all the way down, close the doors, goes all the way back up, after it opens the doors, it's a whole process, and especially on the XLs, it really takes some time. And because it's only one size fits all instead of nesting dolls, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. But and because the XL is pretty slow, I assume the other ones are maybe, if anything, only slightly faster, if that at all. It certainly looks cool, but it gets old, especially build to build to build in the PTU, when you have a whole stack of small vehicles and ships that you're putting off to the side. And once that PTU build hits, that gets all put away. All your toys get put away. So that's a real shame. Another thing is the lighting kind of tricks you if you're not used to the system. The every step to bring it down does its thing. All the lights go back to normal and the sirens go off, stop functioning, and the lights stop flickering. And then it immediately starts the whole process again because it's actually bringing up the item you originally requested. Now, in this clip, I think it's just a PTV, but once again, it's showing that we're testing the ground vehicles and ships and making sure that they're good to go. And this is on the Monday patch, and on the weekend. That's the Phoenix coming up, but on the weekend patch as well, they were fixed. So ground vehicles were accessible on the weekend as well. Now this is an example of, like, you can get a little aggressive. You can drive down as the elevator's just finishing up. There's nothing like blocking you. There's no artificial wall or something. That little caution thing is something different. Another small tidbit. So the elevators, the trams are broken right now, where they don't directly to the spaceport. So what you can do is go the opposite direction. Go to the commons. So you go to past the expo center, past the commons, and then it'll take you to the spaceport. It only adds like 20 seconds to your ride. The other option you have is you can do it the fun way. Go to the commons, hop off, and then go to the ground vehicle control station. It's about 2 habs, I guess you'd call them, down, and then you can fly in. And I was talking with someone who was, they were familiar with the garages, but they never used them. So I figured I'd add this clip in here showing like how you use them. You can absolutely get in a ground vehicle, hover bike, whatever you want, and then come over from the commons from there and just fly across to, or drive across to the MBIS. And while I don't have an elegant ending here because I just it's hover bikes be hover biking, but it got me here, and I was able to test this out and show you like the process of coming in. It's right at the base of the hill that the new Babbage Interstellar Spaceport is at, and that's one of the reasons I love living most of the time in New Babbage, unless they do new work to say Lorville 2.0 or something like that happens, because it has that freedom where if the trams aren't working, if none of the trains were working in the direction of the spaceport, as long as I can get to the commons, I can still get here. And yes, I mean, you can say, oh, well, if all trains are broken, then, well, yeah, then the game's broken. Cool. But in a game where normally one thing is bugged out that prevents you from doing blank or X, Y, or Z, having options is a nice touch in each part of the chain, so you have less risk of failure. And as you can see, that's right at the spaceport. This is another small touch back at the commons. This reminded me of, this is going to date myself a little bit here, but RuneScape, when they released the GE, the Grand Exchange, there was a whole bunch of bank tellers in one place. So everybody kind of de facto made it their trading location. And there was these places like World 1, World 2, if I remember right. And that was like the place to be to do trades. Like before GE had the full trade system integrated into it, and whatnot. And I think that came and went, I can't remember. But the point is that there are 8 item storages, like ATM style item storages, all here on the outside of Factory Line, which is, you come up the trains and you're only 1 hab away from this place. This is over near the gun store and the ship module store as well. So if you're that direction, and it's dead center, you can't miss it. So it's a nice spot. This is a nice little Easter egg here. That's the original Moby glass in lore and in game. And there's an explanation at the base that Magnus Tobin invented the thing. There he is. There he is. Magnus Tobin released the first generation of Moby glass, and you can see how they were a little bit bulkier back then in the version 1. Thought I'd throw that in because this is a nice little spot. And then there's the whole store. I'm not going to give you a whole tour of it, but the point is that there's a lot of item storages there, and they kind of created this unique circumstance. This is also a couple shots I threw in of a hair salon and a spa that are down near Willie's Bar. And I think these are just, I think, fluff right now, but eventually they kind of show where things are going, where there's going to be more services, and that's pretty cool. Um, this is a table testing, so I threw this in thinking, uh, where are tables at? This was over the weekend, so one of my beloved things, Pyrotechnic Amalgamated Toolbox, which has a multi-tool in it and some of the bits, and it also has a light in it, and that shows something with a bit more mass than the other items, and it has a nice wide footprint, so it really behaves well on a table. But unfortunately, the player tables you can place are still buggy. But you can see that table there, that's like a tool table. Like, as you can see, once I move stuff with the items on top of it and the table, things go interesting. And these tables, I mean, it's wild to me just how buggy they are right now. Thing did a kickflip. But anyway, you can see that items that have a wide base, that have like a good bottom heavy nature to them, or centrally weighted nature, are work out very well. Items that tend to have a lot more mass at the top, for obvious reasons, tend to have issues. And if you're thinking about your hangar, this is in the XL hangar in New Babbage, the Aero View hangar. This lit up workbench is a nice place to set up a lot of your stuff while you are kind of settling in. This is right next to an ASOP terminal and right next to a warehouse elevator control. And the warehouse elevator itself. So it's pretty neat. This table here, you can see it's a little bit buggy. This is actually not supposed to be a table. This is a hollow table that's meant to show like a mapping grid. And this is that size of hollow table is like for a cap ship. It's wild that it's that dang big, just sitting in somebody's random hangar. But anyway, this table here is very nice. It's well lit. It is a little too deep, so this is something I was testing out. Like, you can manipulate items on here, but it's like, it's kind of like you have to reach, so like F with the scroll wheel, or like you have to really aim. So I brought it closer to me, and I realized that that was pretty happy. There's like a happy distance. It's like your wingspan of your character is like that far, exactly that far, and then you can like really work on the items, pick them up, drop them off, whatever you want to do. So that's a nice touch to try to make these good. This was kind of a grab bag here at the end, and a little bit freeform. Let me know what you think. Are you happy with 3.24? Have you dipped your toe into the PTU? I know there needs to be more waves. I know. I totally agree. I hope to see at least a wave two, if not three, by the end of this week would be nice. I think the stability. There's a lot of bug fixing, patching going on right now, and I think they do need to address some other things like the freight elevators at the outpost having some form of security, player to player, but things are looking pretty good. I mean, I'm really enjoying the way you can set it up. I'm just noting that the Nursa is parked right at where there's a medical symbol in case somebody comes along and wants to set up their regen. And then we happily bring the Nursa into whatever ship we're going to leave in. Once again, workflows. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it now. I'm going to leave my thoughts here about the blockade runner. I was not able to successfully finish one of them this weekend, and then it was shut off for the Monday patch. I I think it's going to be very combat oriented, based on the feedback I am hearing from people who have finished it, and that's good and bad. You know, that is what it is. It's not really cargo centric. It's like combat with cargo involved. So we'll see how it goes. I hope I'm proved wrong. For those who enjoy hauling, those who enjoy the concepts of high risk cargo management as well, and we'll see. I'll that's my initial takes, not my official like here's how I feel about it type thing. I'm gonna withhold that until I experience it myself. All right. Once again, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you to my long-term subscribers for sticking around. You know how it is at the PTU. This is going to be wild, pioneering times. It's going to be a little rough around the edges, both in my editing and my recordings, and also in the experiences that I share. And if you have any questions, don't forget to reach out every which way. Don't hesitate, public or on Discord and whatnot. I'm always available. Take care.